What is up, guys? I hope you're well, and today we are looking at our entitled parents. As usual, if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe button, as it really helps us along our little journey. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to everyone that's just joined us recently. It really means the world to us. And if you want to join us in Discord, we've got the channel below, so it'll be in the description and in the pinned comment. Now let's get started. You don't sound disabled. So a little background first. My church has a finished basement with a huge kitchen and common area, usually used for after church coffee and donuts and big community events. Underneath the back stairs going into the storage space is a little one-person bathroom, meant for mainly people with disabilities and or injuries, so they don't have to go all the way back upstairs. On to the story. About 8 months ago, I'd screwed up my knee pretty bad by landing very wrong on our trampoline and was on crutches with a metal brace for a while. So during one of our breakfast fundraisers, I was sat at the end of the food tables handing out silverware. This is important because everyone who came through saw me and greeted me, including REM. I decided I had to use the restroom, so I temporarily switched to my godmum and hobbled my tall ass over to the bathroom. Everything was fine for the first 2 minutes of me being there until someone knocks on the door. "Hello, I'll be out in 1 minute." "Alright." Mind you, I can hear a child whining about having to pee, and I recognise his voice. This is important later. A couple more minutes pass and I'm starting to get up when she knocks again. "I'm just getting up. 1 moment please." "Can you hurry up? My son has to pee and we've been waiting too long." "Mom, there's a bathroom upstairs. This one is I'm not going to walk up these stairs," literally one flight, "to have him use that filthy bathroom." They're cleaned daily. At this point I have my pants on and I started to wash my hands. This bathroom is small enough for me to stand without crutches. The walls and sink are close enough for holding on to if necessary. I sigh, not really want to deal with this any longer. Apparently washing my hands was a no-no because I hear a child whine again, and then comes, "That water is making him have to pee even more. You are torturing my child. Get out here now or I'm getting father." I turned off the water and went for the paper towels. "Mum, like I said earlier when you rudely interrupted me, this bathroom is for the disabled. I know for a fact that you and your child are perfectly mobile." "Then why are you in there? You don't sound disabled." What does that even mean? That was the last thing I heard out of her mouth before I opened the door, my crutches back under my armpits. "Well, I sure feel disabled." EM's eyes widened, seeing me brace my crutches, and she grabbed her kid and bolted upstairs. I didn't see her for the rest of the morning, and she still avoids me at mass to this day. It still makes me laugh. I love the bit where she says, "You're torturing my child, get out of here now." This poor guy who can barely walk, trying to wipe himself and stuff. EP steals my sister's hospital gifts because her daughter loves them more. Context. About 3 weeks ago, my sister, who turned 7 earlier this year, had tumbled down a concrete hill while we were heading to the shop and had multiple breaks all over her body. Fast forward a week, she's still in hospital, and to make her more comfortable, I buy her 20 squishy toys. She absolutely loves squishy toys, and I wanted to make her feel a bit more happy on her stay. This included a figure from home, designed around our father, who was constantly fighting in the army. The following day, another child came in, who had a broken leg. I believe it was due to a small tumble down the stairs. This was EK, and it was painfully obvious that the kid was entitled, as they already stated, telling EP that she wanted this, that and the other. After about 2 hours of sitting and talking with my sister, I had to go home and prepare for a presentation I had tomorrow. Not even 1 hour later, we get a call from the hospital, saying that there was an issue with my sister and the EK that needed resolving. My mother was busy, so I decided to go instead. When I got there, I was appalled to see that all of her toys I had bought for her the same day were gone. Lo and behold, the EK and EP were playing with them. I asked my sister why they had all the toys, and she said they wanted to play with them for a while, but they wouldn't give them back. She was visibly upset, and I was about to flip my lid. I'm very protective of my sister, and the EP was flat out ignoring my sister. I asked EP, "Can you give those back now? They don't belong to you." Well, she wasn't playing with them, so she clearly doesn't like them. That's when I noticed that the figure of our dad was on the floor in pieces. That's why she was upset, and I couldn't believe the ignorance of this woman. What is your problem? Don't shout, young man. Stop getting involved. She is my sister, and you've taken all her toys and broken something very important to her. What? This piece of junk? Girls shouldn't play with toy soldiers. I could clearly see she wasn't going to listen to me, so I step in and start taking the toys back, when suddenly a slap to the face interrupts me. She hit me decently hard, because it echoed in the room. "Get the hell off my EK, you paedophile!" I'm taking my sister's toys back, so back off. She doesn't want them, and my EK clearly loves them more than she does. The nurse at the end of the hall had apparently called security, as 2 men came in and took her away. The nurse did come over and help me move her stuff back up over to my sister's bed. We requested a change in spot, and my sister's bed was moved elsewhere. Unfortunately, we could not fix the figure of our father, and we can't get a replacement. I still see that woman sometimes in hospital, but she only makes a face at me from time to time. Oh my god, it's another one of those parents that just think they can take shit off another child and just give it to theirs. What? Where are these people? I just don't get it. EM tried to get me arrested for helping her kid. This story happened like 3 years ago. Me and my friend went to a local pool that was closed to our neighbourhood. There was a grass section there, so we went there and set it up our stuff on the ground. I put some sunscreen on and laid there not doing anything. Then I heard someone cry, so I sat up and looked around and noticed a little girl crying. Like a 4 to 5 year old, I believe, on the ground. So I stood up and went over to her and asked, "Hey little one, are you okay?" I picked her up so she would stand and brush the grass off her knees. Then EM came rushing towards me and pushing me away from the girl. "What do you think you're doing?" "I was just helping this little kiddo, she was crying." "Don't ever touch her again, you brat, or I'm going to call the police," she screamed at me. "Fine then." I went back to my chair and sat down again. After like an hour later, the EM came back and began yelling at me. "Can you explain this to me?" This time the little girl's front was covered fully in grass. I assumed she fell again. "Listen, ma'am, I've been sitting here for like an hour now. Well, my little sweetheart here told me that you pushed her." "I'm sorry, what?" My friend was a tiny bit away playing volleyball with one of his friends, but stopped and began listening since the woman was really loud. "You better apologise, lady." "For what?" "For what you did, bitch." "I didn't do anything." "Okay, so I'm calling the police. This is stupid," she said as she left with her kid. My friend went over to me and asked what this was about. I told him and he laughed a tiny bit and said he'd help me if she actually called the police. He sat down with me and his buddy and we chatted for like another hour. Later the woman came with the 2 police officers. "Arrest this lady!" She yelled at them like they were his minions or something. One of the officers took me and a friend aside and asked us what happened. We told him the story and he was really chilled about it and told us to leave and we'll be fine. The woman was screaming really loudly, "Arrest her! She's hurt my baby!" So we took our stuff and left. I met the officer for like a week after that and he told me that the woman got into more trouble so they banned her from the public pool. I felt great that day. There are some crazy ass people about. Entitled dad and son wanted me fired, so we kicked them off the team. So just some background. My high school needed an emergency head coach for an unfortunate accident with who they hired. They called me as I was a graduate with 6 years of experience as a wrestler and 4 years experience as an assistant coach, 10 years in total. I was 22 at the time. That'll play into things later. The team I had was really small. Generally you have a roster of 14 guys, 1 for each weight class, plus whatever you add for JV. I only had 4. We only kept the program because one of the guys was ranked in the top 5 for his weight class. We had one kid, who would be known as the entitled kid, or EK, who was a problem. He had actually quit other sports because he was the best player on the team, but the other coaches couldn't see it. My assistant and I knew it was only a matter of time. We're at a tournament that were ready to be an all-day affair. The night before, EK asked if he could meet us there, because he lived right down the road, so I said that was fine. Little did I know, that was a mistake. I had 2 guys on the line for making weight, and they didn't want to eat before weigh-ins. We were supposed to weigh in by 7, but EK didn't arrive. We call him and says they were running behind and were like 5 minutes away. I figured whatever, everyone has something come up. 10 minutes go by and they still aren't here. Now I'm getting anxious because I have others who want to eat and get warmed up. Call them again and they say they're almost there. 7:30 rolls on and they still aren't there. Now it's to the point that all the other schools have done what they needed and are waiting on us. They finally stroll in at 7:45 and the first thing I saw is that they bought in fast food breakfast. I'm annoyed, but I wanted to get my guys squared away. I figured I'd address it later. After the team warms up, I pull EK aside and tell him what I was thinking, how it was disrespectful to the team, the school's waiting, and to me. Enters entitled dad. I explained to both of them how they couldn't do that when EK has teammates working their asses off. They shrugged it off and went back to the bleachers. Throughout the day, we didn't have problems and I thought we were doing well. I figured out the last match would be a breeze to finish and we could all go home. Oh, how wrong I was. We get to EK's match and we're off and running with issues. First the clock malfunctions and he starts cutting out the guy running the clock, who just happened to be our team manager. We pull him over and try to distract him. The match goes on and with a few seconds left, there's another clock issue. Now EK is more annoyed and we have to pull him over to the corner and try talking about his match. As we're talking with him, his dad walks onto the mat. Now for those who don't know, high school wrestling, that's a big no-no. Imagine if a parent walked onto the court in basketball or the field in football. He starts yelling and pointing at the opposing coach. I tell him to get off the mat and I will deal with whatever bullshit he's saying. After the clock gets fixed and EK is back in the ring, I finally hear what ED was saying. Apparently he thought the other coach was telling his kid to punch EK in the balls. Oh, I wish he did. Apparently he thought the other coach was telling his kid to punch EK in the balls. He keeps yelling this, and you could see the cogs turn in EK's head. EK gets the next period and doesn't listen to my advice and continues to lose in 10 seconds. ED is still yelling and EK finally snaps. He goes over to the opposing coach and starts cussing him out. I'm so taken back by this, I didn't know what to do. My assistant finally runs over and drags him off the mat. We still have one more match, so we finish up and I start apologising profusely. The other coach laughs it off and said it's all part of our jobs. I knew the coach from wrestling against his team myself, and he's one of the nicest guys in the league. As we finish talking, our teams shake hands, and surprise surprise, EK and ED aren't there. They finally come back and I'd had enough. I laid into them, and I yelled so the whole gym could hear. I corrected ED on what the coach was yelling. It was a punch in the bar. And he started arguing that I was wrong, that his son was never in the position for that move to work, and he didn't deserve to lose the match, to which I replied, yes he was. Your son lost because he didn't want to listen and put himself in that position. They didn't say anything and left. This wouldn't even be the end of everything. Next morning I walk in and the athletic director calls me into his office. I sit down and look at him and the vice principal, and they started laughing. The VP happened to coach another team and saw the whole ordeal himself. They told me ED and EK came in and just let loose on me. They stated I was too young and inexperienced to be coaching, and I wasn't good enough for EK. That the program was going to hell and they needed to fire me ASAP. Both the AD and VP looked at them and told them that without me as a coach, they wouldn't have had a season. That the VP saw the whole thing and supported my side, and that EK and ED needed to write a formal apology to the host school for their behaviour. Little to say, they did not like hearing this and quit the team. I guess after EK quit, he started saying how bad I was a coach and an awful person. Little did he know that I knew most of the teachers and always made sure to visit them during the season. God, it's one of those sports parents there. Their son is like the best in everything. Entitled mother calls my disability fake and tells me to shut up. This happened about 3 months ago and it still irritates me. A little backstory. I'm hard of hearing, meaning that I'm not completely deaf, but I don't have full hearing in either of my ears. I don't know the exact percentage, but I have about 85% hearing, so I hear well enough to get by without hearing aids, but I still can't hear some sounds, and that includes people's voices. Since I can't hear very well, I have a loud voice, mostly so I can hear myself speak, and that can annoy some people. I try to be as quiet as I can, but if I need to speak over noise, I get kind of loud. Anyway, I went to a restaurant with my friend to pick up a pizza. It's mostly a dine-in restaurant, but you can call ahead and pick your food up at the front. We called ahead for the pizza, but when we got there, they told us that they were kind of busy, and that we'd need to wait a few minutes before our food was ready, which was perfectly fine. My friend and I sat at some tables in the front and waited. I glanced around the restaurant and saw entitled mother eating with her 3 kids and husband. My friend and I started a conversation about something, I don't remember what, but it wasn't offensive or anything, and pretty soon I got a tap on the shoulder and a passive-aggressive "excuse me." I looked up and lo and behold, it was EM. "Hi, can I help you?" "Hi, yes, I'm sorry to bother you, but you're being awfully loud. Do you mind quieting down some?" "Oh, sorry, of course, no problem." I was kind of annoyed that she interrupted me, but I did try to be a little quieter. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm yelling, and I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I talked to my friend for a couple more minutes, and again, EM taps me on the shoulder. "Sorry to bother you again, but you haven't quieted down, and you're disturbing my children." "I'm very sorry, ma'am, but this is as quiet as I can be. If you wait a minute, we'll be out of your hair." "I don't care when you're leaving. I want you to be quiet now." "Ma'am, I'm hard of hearing. This is as quiet as I can be while still hearing myself." "I don't care if you say you have a fake disability. You need to have respect for others and be quiet." This made me mad. I thought of so many ways to tell her off, but all I managed to get out was, "Ma'am, I'm trying," before she interrupted me again. "Well, try harder. I'm tired of listening to you and your little friend talk about whatever drama you teenage punks have." Teenage punks. "Well, try harder. I'm tired of listening to you and your little friend talk about whatever drama you teenage punks have. I'm trying to enjoy a nice meal, but I'm tired of hearing you screaming every time there's a pause in my quiet family's conversation." "Ma'am, I've told you, I'm trying to speak quietly." "We haven't been quiet so far. Maybe you should just shut your mouth and enjoy the silence. It will certainly be nicer for us." At this point, a waitress came over with our pizza. My friend takes the pizza and motions for us to leave, so I turn to Ian and sign to her, "Fuck you, bitch, kiss my ass," in ASL, and leave. I could hear her screaming about, "What did she say to me? Who does that little brat think she is?" and all kinds of stuff before I get out of range. I know she doesn't understand ASL, but it felt good to tell her off, even though she didn't know what it meant. God, man. when she said a fake disability, that triggered me. But the when she said, "You teenage punks, you little brats." Once again, I know I say it so much, and I keep meaning to like make a thank you video when we get to our milestones, but we're hitting milestones so fast, I don't know where to start at the moment. I will make one soon, I promise, but I'd just like to say thank you so much for all the support you guys have been giving me. It really means the world. Thank you very much now. Take care. Goodbye.